Welcome back to SoFlo TV again, everybody. It's your host with the most.
So quick thinking, quick reflex. I'm trained. I'm a security officer. I got a G license. I got a concealed weapon license.
If you missed the video that we did recently about the brother that everybody is calling Teddy Brockshot, the second coming, or Teddy Brock, wife that coming, the Teddy Brockshot, the returns, or they're saying that he would be good to play in Shatters if they do a remake of Shatters Brockshot, because he was the one that killed a person who tried to rob him in Miami with an AK-47. It's a 60-year-old man named Donovan, right? The thing about that story is we've had our laughs now, right? But the reality of the story is much bigger than that. For one, I woke up this morning to see him being used as a poster child for the NRA. The NRA, by the way, is the National Rifle Association. And in the United States of America, there are a lot of people that are with the National Rifle Association, but there are also a lot of people that are against the National Rifle Association. And here's a reason why. The National Rifle Association says that guns don't kill people. People use guns to kill people. So there is no need to ban high-power weapons. Well, on the other flip side of that, you have a whole lot of mass shootings, like in the grocery stores. They shot up in Texas the other day twice. School shootings, buildings where people are gathered in masses, at a concert where they shot 100 and something people all at once. Like all this other stuff. So they are seeming, the NRA seems like they're on the side of the shooters, to the people who want these types of guns to be banned. They're not calling for all guns to be banned. They're calling for the legalization of high-powered rifles with long extended clips and drums. The extended clips and the drums and the high-powered rifles, they're saying, should only be used by law enforcement officials. And then, of course, you can have your semi-automatic handguns and automatic handguns, and those could go to civilians. Well, the NRA takes a stand against that, and rightfully so. It is their constitutional right in the United States of America, and that was placed in the Constitution because of what? Just in case the government turns on the people can defend themselves. So you have many Americans that are saying, look, if the government wakes up one morning and wants to put us all in concentration camps, it's going to be a fight to the death. And we will have the tools necessary to fight to the death, right? High-powered rifles that spit 100 and something rounds per whatever, those are the things they wanted to take off the street. It's interesting to see a Jamaican face on the NRA site this morning as a poster boy now for the NRA, and they're saying about protecting your family by any means necessary and the people around you. Interestingly, so if you missed the whole thing, the part that got me though was that he is homeless. And I didn't mention that in my last video because the original story when it broke, Channel 7 told us that he was sleeping in his van outside his house, at the front of his house. And remember, I said the thing that puzzled me was, how come Donovan asleep inside the van outside of his house? What? His woman got mad and threw him outside? Because that's how Channel 7 reported it. Channel 7 did not report that, in fact, inside of the van was him, his woman, and his child.
While he pushed the kid in my face, it was so close, I get the nozzle away from my face, and I empty my Glock in my chest. When he fly my door open, the only thing he do is stop the AK in my face. And my gun was right there, what you doing? And that's how I get it. My face. And as a guy with born and go in Kingston town, I'm not gonna go out like a punk.
So he defended his entire family circle unit, not just himself. So when the weather is nice, in certain neighborhoods out here, we're in Florida, beautiful Florida, the beach ain't too far away from most people's home. And when the weather is nice, we sit outside in our front yard sometimes. We open the door, you know, kick back, kick your foot up, whatever you're doing, and you're there. And people will come by and they'll talk to you. That's where your friends meet you at. You don't have to go lock up in the house. And I thought that was what it was because that's the picture they painted. Now hearing it later news. That's why sometimes it's not important to give breaking news. And I don't normally rush to give breaking news because the story doesn't always come out 100% right away. So other news entities went on the scene later or did some digging later, and this is what they found, that he was actually homeless and he was living in his van. And since after a shooting it is legal procedure to take the vehicle and to take his gun, he is now without his gun and he is now also without his vehicle that he was living in, which means he is officially homeless. But they're saying that the police department is helping with the homelessness situation. I am hoping that this multi-billion-dollar corporation called the NRA, since they're using him as a poster child, that they are going to step in and help him. I mean, come on now. If you're going to use him as a poster child, stepping in and helping, they're not obligated to, but it would be a nice gesture. You understand what I'm saying? So for those of you who missed the story,
5:30, a Miami man talks about turning the tables on a gunman he says tried to rob him.
Tonight, that alleged robber is dead.
it's a 60-year-old Miami man he's referred to, said that he was forced to shoot and kill a gunman who had broken into his van early morning, Monday morning, to attempt to rob him of his jewelry. The funny thing is, I didn't say this, but I'm going to say this. When they have laws, rules, and regulations, they don't normally apply to black people. And when they do apply, or we do try to defend ourselves using them, we always have to go the extra mile, or they take us the extra mile. For instance, they have a open carry law in parts of Texas, USA, right? And you will see white guys walking down the street with a pistol on their side. And you will see some of them driving around with a long shotgun or an AR-15 strapped to the inside window of their vehicle. You know, the van back with the glass so you can see through it driving down the street, and you will see these weapons. And they don't have to have a permit, or they don't have to possess a permit, a concealed carry permit, to carry these weapons out in the open. I've seen videos where a black person actually did a social experiment. Okay, these laws are here. Let's see what will happen if you're a black man carrying the weapon openly. And he walked on those exact same streets. I give it to him, brave man, because he could have lost his life. He walked on those same exact streets. And it's like every block he went within seconds. Woo, 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 woo. Hey, put your guns down. Put your gun down. Put your hands up. Why are you carrying? And you have to explain to yourself, are we not in a open carry state? Am I not a legal citizen? Am I not afforded the right of others, that others exercise to carry my weapon openly as well? Yep, we don't want to see black people carrying open weapons though. It's okay when white people do it. Police walks right past them, drive right past them. They don't know if they're a criminal. And if you're a criminal, a convicted felon, it is illegal for you to carry a weapon, period. Have it in your possession, let alone to walk around with it open carry, where everyone can see it, right? Now, this black person has to stop, show ID, get his ID ran, background check through whatever the police does in their car. You know, stay right here, we're going to go run your information. They're checking to see if you have any arrest records or anything. Just something to arrest you for carrying this thing openly when the law has said that in this state you can carry it openly. It is the same exact instance in Donovan's case. He did a shooting to defend himself and his family, and even with witnesses coming by to say, hey, I got robbed from that same guy. He took my brand new 2018 Volkswagen. He took $600 cash from me. He took my iPhone. And guess what? On his person was found the keys. And yet still, the police is saying, well, for now it seems like a legit thing that Donovan did, but investigation is ongoing because we need more information. And if anyone knows anything more, please contact the Miami Police Department at so-and-so. You see? White person does the same killing. They'll shoot you down for playing loud music. And then they'll call the police and they'll be like, hey, I stood my ground. I asked him to turn his music down. He reached for his glove compartment and I thought he was pulling out a gun. And he looked like he was very aggressive. So I reached in for my illegal firearm and I fired into his vehicle, killing him. This is real stuff I'm telling you about. It happened. And sometimes these people walk more than not. And I am advising Donovan, wherever you're at, cooperate with the police. Yes, because I know you're doing that and I know you didn't do anything wrong. But don't say too much anymore. Because these people will use whatever you've said to twist it against you. Now, there's a thing here. Because I said in the first video I did, you sure enough the weed man, them a come rob, or they thought he was selling weed out of the vehicle and they coming to rob him. Somebody got in my comment section and said, look on you, I give it the man now, I talk about weed man. That was a supposed. That this is what these people are thinking of you. Y'all better wake up, right? So why you think this investigation is ongoing, even with all the proof they have? And watch, this investigation will continue to be ongoing for a long while before Donovan is completely let off the hook. Because the best thing for this system is to get one black man as a killer and another one dead. That is the divide and conquer. One goes into the system and they make thousands of dollars off you per year, housing you as a prisoner. And then the other one is dead and buried. Out the way, nothing to worry about. So you better be careful. You're not talking too much. You know, sometimes we tell a story, and after telling the story about the fourth or fifth time, we tend to get a little more exaggerated, or we tend to flip the details in the story until it turns into, but I grab it so. And now you're saying, I grab it and hold it down so. And then they will come in and say stuff like, well, the first time you said it, you said you grabbed it this way. Now you're saying you grabbed it and held it down here. So which one is it? Because now your story's not adding up. And based on the ballistics and the they will tie his ass up. You understand? So I'm telling you, I'm telling Donovan, anywhere he is out there, leave your story. It's told already on record. Let it be whatever is said on the video and leave it at that. Behind the scenes, you help them to whatever. But other than that, stop telling the rotted story for now and let them clear your name first.
The guy I killed last night, he just pushed an AK-47 in my face. And as a guy with born and grown in Kingston town, I'm not gonna go out like a punk.
Right? I hope they could find him some gainful employment and probably a place to live other than inside the van. Somebody said, so Flo, you know, see the AC unit in the back of the van. I think him did I live in there. Well, yeah, and they had AC. Some people not even have a van to live in. But when we leave the Caribbean and we come to the US, a lot of people think we have, I mean, look at all the things Donovan has. He was in the 100% right, and I love it because I've always talked about that. Like, carry your weapon. Make sure it is legal. The weapon that you're carrying. Do not carry an illegal weapon. That way when you bust it, you don't have to run and hide because you are not in trouble. And you can use the stand your ground law and you can defend yourself. Right? Right. So the part where he said, the guy I killed last night, he put an AK-47 in my damn face. He said, sorry about that. Sorry about my language. Said Donovan Stewart. He told CBS 4's Peter Onesh that he had to act quickly because he was worried about the safety of his 11-year-old son and his girlfriend who were actually in the van with him. So the initial story from Channel 7 didn't tell us that. They were in the van with him. They made it seem like his woman, was in the house. When they said Donovan is 60 and the same woman look like she about 30. Eh? Anyhow, boy, she must love him because she out there in a van with him and all these things. And that's where we living. That's how we living right now. Anyway, I'm from Kingston in Jamaica. He said I was raised in Kingston, born and raised in Kingston, Jamaica. But each news entity flips it and said, I'm not going out like a punk. So I emptied my Glock in his chest. The man tried to get into my van while I was sleeping, and it surprised me to see what I did. And then he demonstrated to CBS 4 exactly what he did. Well, he opened the door like this and pointed the AK in, and I reach around like this and got my gun, and this is how I did to him, like this. Remember, he did the whole reach around, grab the thing and pull out him gun on. I'm going to defend myself and those I love, he said. My family is innocent, and just don't put an AK in my face and think you're going to live. I will not allow that to happen. This guy also hijacked a woman in her van, in a van, and was found with her car keys. He robbed another woman at gunpoint. So it was the woman who he hijacked her van. They found her car keys on his body. He robbed another woman at gunpoint. You want to come looking for trouble, Donovan said. Come to me. Come to me. I wouldn't do anything like this to anybody, and they picked the wrong person in this case. Miami police officer Mike Vega said that while this appears to be a case of self-defense, the investigation is still ongoing. Everyone is cooperating, he said, but we still need to receive more information. One more information than what? We need to put this all together to determine exactly what happened. If anybody knows anything, they should call Miami police, Vega added. Meanwhile, OH, the reporter, was at the location at the crime scene. He was approached by Delilah Gator and her boyfriend, Evan Cherry. Gator said that the dead gunman was the same one who terrorized her around 6 a.m. on Saturday and robbed her at gunpoint of her $600 cash, cause she did go shopping, and her iPhone and her 2018 Volkswagen.
Police officer Mike Vega says it appears this was self-defense.
Everybody's cooperating, but we still need more information.
It was a split-second decision.
To defend my life and my family, I have the possibility to defend innocent people, I'll do it too. You know? You just don't wake me up in the morning and push a AK up my nose and think you're going to live. No. They tried the wrong person with that.
Delilah Gator says the dead gunman had just robbed her Saturday morning of $600 in cash, her iPhone, and her VW.
He had the gun and he forced me to open the door. I was very devastated and emotional. That's crazy. This man has a family. Like, why would you rob somebody that's living in a van?
Now, in light of that case, Miami police tell us they're looking into previous robberies that the dead gunman may have committed. They've also confiscated Donovan Stewart's gun and van as a matter of routine procedure because he no longer has a van and is in fact homeless. Police are also offering to help him.
Karma is something else. I mean, you're right. Karma is something else. When you do wicked to people, especially to people who are down and out already or on the downside of things, you know what I mean? We all have our day. That's why I tell people, don't act like you're better than nobody else, because it can happen to you too. I know a lot of people say, it can't happen to me, it can't happen to me, because it can happen to you. A turn of 3 events in a row can send you spiraling, your whole life spiraling out of control. And that's real, right? And she said, isn't karma something else? To rob a man that has his family living in a van. It's not even like they're living in one of them big luxury coaches, you know what I'm saying, or a mobile home. They're actually living in a van, an eco van. The Miami police were trying to determine if the unidentified man who was killed had robbed other people as well. Well, I don't know if that's a part of the more information that they're trying to find out, because they already found out that he robbed the woman with her van, and they found her van keys in his pockets. Then there's an eyewitness, there's a witness who came to the scene, but obviously she didn't live far from where it happened. She walked onto the scene while the news reports were there to give her account of being robbed of her $600 and her 2018 Volkswagen car. I mean, how much more do they want? But funny now, let's go to the NRA comments. 60-year-old, look, I'm on the NRA site. 60-year-old NRA member, Donovan Stewart, this is how they put him, but he did say he was an NRA member.
And I'm a member of the NRA.
The man has his G license, he has a concealed permit carry license, he's a licensed security guard and trained to use a firearm. I mean, he was in the right plus the right plus the right plus the right. And I love it. When you're in the right, you can really defend yourself. You know what I'm saying? 60-year-old NRA member Donovan Stewart used his firearm to stop an attacker who held him at gunpoint with an AK-47. I have a CCW permit, and I have a gun, and I am a member of the NRA. I am going to defend my life and those I love, said Stewart. That's what the NRA headline site says. This thing on the NRA site has 5.2 thousand likes, laughs, comments, 250 comments, and it was shared 938 times, right? Benjamin A. Lewis says he had his 11-year-old with him. I will do great and terrible things for those I love. Glad the father was armed. Chaz Cox said, good for him. Love my NRA. Tom Bartolini said, thank you for your service. Scott Haas said, proud member of the NRA. Matthew Behrens said, that guy totally looks like an NRA member. I mean, put all of you guys in a lineup and I'm sure you all look like that. And they're laugh out loud, laughing. Now you know, obviously, that's a, you know what that is, right? That guy totally looks like an NRA member. I mean, put all you guys in a lineup and I'm sure you all look like that. And then a laughing, crying face goes with it. J.E. Bloodgood said, yet all the gun controllers and internet firearm experts will tell you that you can't use a handgun in defense against a rifle. Jack Coyne said, just don't put an AK-47 in my face. Excellent advice. I'm telling you, he's being hailed as a hero on the website of the NRA. Zachary Malvert says, use this firearm, maybe a little more proof reading next time. Skip Davey says, great job. Hugh V. Eubank says, good job, Stuart. So Stacy Cornelius says, I love the story, but I can't share it because it makes the NRA seem illiterate. Read before you post, please. Whatever that means. Gene Vass says, good job. Mark Krugman says, amen, thanks. Jerry Simmons says, used his firearm. Writing just keeps getting worse everywhere. I guess the sentence was not formulated properly, and people are saying if you're going to put out something on an NRA site, you have to make sure that the English is up to par and formulated properly so they don't look at us, the NRA, as a group of gun-wielding, gun-toting, gun-happy people who can't even formulate a sentence. You know what I mean, Bob? Hey, Bob, I got my gun with me. That John Walker says, he also said, I'm from Jamaica and I'm not going down like that. David Campbell said, good shooting. Aim small, miss small. Francis D. Stevens says, my brother from another mother. If the NRA is going to use all this, it would be a good gesture of them to use, because he didn't have to say, I'm a member of the NRA, right? Because it doesn't validate you using your weapon to defend yourself. But I think what happened here, I'm going to end this as real as possible. What happened here is this. It's like when I am pulled over by the police, right? I've noticed and I've realized that when I have my military ID, my retirement ID with me, I'm treated very much different from when I just hand them a driver's license. So if I make it a point to actually show my ID, they'll say, oh, you were in the military, what branch? And I say what branch, and they're like, oh yeah, welcome home, man, thanks for your service. And immediately you get treated different throughout the whole traffic stop. Matter of fact, I've driven away from multiple traffic stops, and simply because that ID and a conversation about military service with the officer that pulled me over. Serious thing I'm talking. So probably it was the same thing that Donovan realized, that Maybe if I say the NRA, it'll bolster my argument even more of self-defense, right? I'm just saying. It's a shame that we have to go the extra mile all the time, but it is what it is. And living in that environment, you must know what governs your surroundings and put yourself in a proper position, if you know what I mean. Leave your comments in the comment section below. I'm going to end this one right here. Shout out to Donovan anywhere you're at. It's SoFlo TV, man. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I'm out. Peace.